What does your sign say, Chris?
My main sign says children cannot consent to puberty blockers.
Sounds pretty baseline logical that really anybody, even the puberty block promoters, should acknowledge as a fact. If children can't consent to sex, how can they possibly consent to something that blocks their sexual development?
Can't get a tattoo. Can't get aspirin at school without parental notification and approval. Can't go on a field trip without your parents signing an approval. But now schools want to engage in psychological interventions with our kids, giving our baby girl a boy's name and male pronouns while they actively hide it from parents. This is the policy in many states. It's the policy in California. My friend Sonia Shaw, who is the chair of the Chino Valley Unified School District, their school board actually passed a regulation requiring schools to inform parents if their child has a new name and pronouns at school. Governor Newsom then passed a law banning school districts from requiring parental notification when they are treating their own child as though they're the opposite sex. Wild. This is not a benign thing. They are engaging in a psychological intervention with absolutely no training to do so. And what is this psychological intervention? It is treating a child as though there is something innately wrong with them. That is the message of gender ideology. It teaches they were born in the wrong body. What does that even mean? Nobody can tell you. I know because I've asked 10,000 people that question. Nobody can tell me. Nobody can tell me what a gender identity is. Nobody can define what a transgender person is without resorting to circular definitions. Or ultimately, what this really comes down to is stereotypes. So if you have a girl who likes climbing trees and playing football with the boys and wants to have short hair and hates wearing dresses, well, maybe she's transgender. Really? We're going to tell this beautiful girl, because that's what she is, that she was born in the wrong body because she likes boy toys and boy sports and boy activities? Maybe they're just more fun than playing with dolls. Maybe. Or a boy who plays with dolls, we're going to tell him he's a girl? Now, I know what some people at home are thinking. They're not saying that, Chris. Yes, they are. Boston Children's Hospital released a series of videos a few years ago on their YouTube channel from their gender clinic.
Let's watch it.
Let's watch one of these. So there's two that I gave you. Let's watch the one with the pink background,
where they're talking about how the parents know.
Yes.
Let's do it.
A child will often know that they are transgender from the moment that they have any ability to express themselves, and parents will often tell us this. We have parents who tell us that their kids, they knew from the minute they were born practically, and actions like refusing to get a haircut or standing to urinate, trying to stand to urinate, refusing to stand to urinate, trying on siblings' clothing, playing with the, quote, opposite gender toys, things like that. There is more and more a group of adolescents that we are seeing that really are coming to the realization that they might be trans or gender diverse a little bit later on in their life. So what we're seeing from them is that they always sort of knew something was maybe off and didn't have the understanding to know that they might be trans or have a different gender identity than the one they had been assigned.
Able to be
so
treated.
That is a growing population that we are seeing, and that's
Boston
being
Children's
recognized as
Hospital.
being
Who is this
trans
lady?
and able to be treated.
So that's Dr. Jeremy Carswell. She's the director of the Gender Multi-Specialty Clinic at Boston Children's, the #1 ranked pediatric hospital in the country. And she says that playing with opposite gendered toys are a sign your child is transgender and can be treated. A girl trying to pee standing up. Well, guess what? If a girl has big brothers, she's probably going to try to pee standing up. A boy peeing sitting down? Come on, this is ridiculous. Trying on a sibling's clothing. If a boy has big sisters, they're going to play dress up. It's called play. These people are insane. But that video, they deleted it from their YouTube channel 3 years ago, but not before I recorded it. Because I had earlier tweeted out a video about gender-affirming hysterectomies that they're performing at the hospital.
At Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes.
A children's hospital is performing hysterectomies.
For gender. We have that video too. But that video started to go a bit viral. I had tweeted it out and I thought I'd better record this because they're looking awful and they'll probably delete it. And I was actually on holiday at the time with my family, but I'm never on holiday. The kids are playing, I'm working. So I recorded 40 different videos that their gender clinic had produced. And that night they deleted them all. So I started pumping out these different videos. They get more gruesome than the last. And they talk about penile inversion surgeries and how sometimes they'll cut off the tissue from a girl's forearm.
This is on children. These are minors.
Well, they do it at the hospital. I think they see kids up until they're 21 or something like that. But
Chloe Cole had a double mastectomy at age 15.
That's right. So they are 100% doing double mastectomies in the United States of America, including in California, on children as young as 12 years old. I have a video that I sometimes tweet out from Kellen Lackhart. She is the psychologist at Kaiser Permanente in Oakland, California. And she admits they've cut off the breasts of a 12-year-old girl and done penile inversion surgeries on 16-year-old boys. Having started the process, she says, at 15. And I think when she says that, she's referring to hair removal, which they have to do 6 months to a year in advance, or else you get these ingrown hairs and infections. And so this is just totally gruesome. I don't even want to get into it all. People can research this on their own if they want. But yes, this is happening in children's hospitals. And even if they're not doing the gender affirming hysterectomies until 18, well, they're indoctrinating these children from 3 or 4 years of age. They will see kids that young. I have other videos from that same hospital where they see kids that age and they start socially transitioning them. They're telling the 3-year-old girl that she's really a boy. She was in diapers 6 months ago. And then what happens in the system? The psychologists affirm it. The counselors affirm it.
It's child abuse, Chris.
It's child abuse. It's psychological abuse. Then it's physical abuse. They're sterilizing kids. They start them on these puberty blocking drugs at Tanner stage 2. That's the technical term. So Tanner stage 2 is when you first get your pubic hair. So kids are 10, 11, 12. And the theory behind this, if I were to steel man their argument, why do they do this? They do this because it would be too traumatic for a boy to develop into a man, and it would make it harder for him to pass as a woman. So therefore, they need to keep him looking neutral. They need to keep the girls looking neutral so that when they go on the opposite sex hormones, they'll then pass better as the opposite sex. It's really all about passing. They're 10, 11, 12, and who are these kids who end up at gender clinics? Invariably, and this is not my opinion, this is according to all the systematic reviews that have been done. A systematic review is the gold standard in medicine. It's where they look at all the peer-reviewed research, all the scientific literature, and then they come out with this review. It's called a systematic review. It's been done in England. It's been done in Sweden. It's now been done by the HHS here in the US. All these reviews come to the same conclusion. No evidence or extremely low evidence to support any of this. And then you contrast that with these grave harms that are being done.
To support any of what?
Giving kids puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and
no
surgeries.
Evidence that it is...
That it's helping them.
Helping them.
Correct.
And how are they measuring outcomes? It's like this, the meta studies of the studies, or all of the studies combined. How are they measuring outcomes based on mental health outcomes? You know, the kids reporting themselves, how they're feeling. What are the different things that are queried?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of times there's no evidence because a lot of these kids are lost to follow-up. They don't even know. But yeah, it's self-reported outcomes. It's things like suicide. It's things, psychiatric visits.
Addictions.
Yeah, all that. So what these puberty blockers, for any doctors watching, for people who really want to dig into the technicalities, these are gonadotropin releasing hormone analogs. They stop the pituitary gland from releasing 2 hormones called luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. These in turn are what trigger you at the onset of puberty to release estrogen, me to produce testosterone. These are what trigger our secondary sex characteristics to develop. So girls, obviously, they grow breasts, their hips get wider. Boys get stronger, deep voice, hairy face, all the stuff that happens in puberty. While they're on this drug, that won't happen. Boys' genitals stop developing. So you end up with these 18-year-old men, 20-year-old men who now want to get the surgery, what they call bottom surgery. This is a castration and a penile inversion where they invert the penis. And I'm really sorry if this gets gruesome, but it is important to know some of these details. But because the boy's penis never grew during all those years of puberty, they don't have enough tissue to do this inversion, to get the depth that they want. So what do? They will cut out some of the boy's colon or some of his peritoneum, the lining of his abdominal cavity, and they will use that to form the interior lining of this neo-vagina.
Why do they want depth in this vagina? This fake plastic surgery created piece of flesh.
I think people can probably figure that out.
That's non-functioning.
Right. And some people have died after this. I wrote a story, I published the news about a young man who developed necrotizing fasciitis, death of tissue that kept spreading and spreading and they couldn't stop it and he died. There's another young man, I think his name was Yale, from here in California. The surgery, the complications were so severe that he ended up taking his own life. Others have developed what's called a fistula. It's a passage between their urinary tract and their fake vagina, which causes infections and they can't fix it. This is Frankenstein stuff going on. And they're doing this with our most vulnerable kids. These kids at these gender clinics invariably have all sorts of things. We know from the systematic review in England that 70% of these kids had 5 or more coexisting mental health comorbidities. They didn't have 1 or 2. They had 5 or more, the majority. So autism is extremely prevalent. And then when we know from the Tavistock in England, 35% of the kids had moderate to severe autism. That's not including the more mild cases. There is a law firm out of Texas called Campbell Miller Payne. 4 Christian dads with, I think, 18 kids between them, formed this new law firm just to sue for all these young people. Great guys. They're friends of mine now. But they're looking at about 150 other cases right now. And in virtually every case, the child has autism.
It's so devastating. This is just children who are looking for identity, love, expression, and they're being put through these experiments, these vicious, damaging, lifelong damaging experiments.
Yeah, they're maybe not fitting in as well with the kids. And what are they being told? Well, that's because you were born in the wrong body. We
just had Nisa Powers on the show, who is in the process of detransition and also conversion to Christianity. He is going through RCIA now. It was before she, and is a man, of course, and just sharing about how he was bullied viciously and didn't fit in. And so he thought, I'm safer as a girl.